Did you know that the name John is over 4,000 years old? The name John is one of the oldest in human history, documented more than 4,000 years ago. This name has endured through countless ages and cultures, remaining relevant even today. Just imagine, millions of people throughout history have carried this simple yet powerful name, which continues to symbolize tradition and endurance. Believe it or not, your brain generates about 70,000 thoughts a day. Imagine your brain as a factory of ideas, working non-stop. Every day, it generates around 70,000 thoughts. That means a new idea, memory, or decision is born in your head every few seconds. This incredible ability allows us to multitask and quickly adapt, processing thousands of decisions automatically. So the next time you feel overwhelmed by thoughts, remember, your brain's powerful thinking factory is in full operation. Can cockroaches survive a nuclear explosion? Cockroaches have long earned a reputation as super survivors, capable of withstanding even the most extreme conditions, including high levels of radiation. But is it true that they can survive a nuclear explosion? In reality, cockroaches can indeed survive radiation exposure, but there are creatures far better adapted to this, like certain types of fungi and microbes. Nevertheless, cockroaches remain a symbol of resilience, able to survive conditions that would kill most other living creatures. Black panthers. A sleek coat, not a species. The term Black Panther doesn't refer to a separate species of animals. It's actually a name for leopards or jaguars with a rare coloration, melanism. Melanism is an excess of dark pigment that makes their fur appear nearly black, creating a sleek and mysterious look. For example, about 11% of all leopards have this striking coloration, turning them into real shadows of the jungle. This genetic phenomenon not only helps the panther blend into the dark forest, but also gives it a legendary status among big cats. Surprisingly, there's a town in Norway where every house stands on stilts. In Røros, Norway, almost all houses are built on wooden stilts. This ancient technique helps protect the buildings from moisture and snow. The historical center of the town is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, and today tourists come to see how ancient construction methods have remained relevant for centuries. This town stands as a living monument to how people adapted to the harsh conditions of the north. Is it possible? The most venomous snake in the world lives in Australia. The inland taipan, also known as the fierce snake, is the most venomous creature on the planet. The venom from one bite is powerful enough to kill over 100 people. Despite its fearsome reputation, the inland taipan is a very shy and elusive snake, preferring to avoid contact with humans. It can be found only in remote parts of Australia, where it hunts small mammals using its incredible speed and deadly precision. It's interesting that Tokyo has no street addresses. In Tokyo, addresses are assigned not to streets but to buildings, which is very unusual for a large city. Buildings are numbered in order of construction, not by their location on a street. This means finding the right address for the first time can be challenging if you're not familiar with the area. Instead of streets, residents and visitors orient themselves by metro stations and districts, giving Tokyo a unique charm and character. Did you know why watches and ads show 10 past 10? Most watch ads show the hands set at 10 minutes past 10. This is no accident. This position creates a visually pleasing appearance that resembles a smiling face. Additionally, this way, the hands do not obscure the company's logo, which is typically placed at the 12 o'clock position. This layout also highlights balance and symmetry, making advertising photos even more appealing. Johnny Appleseed, the man who planted apples not for food. Many of us have heard the legend of Johnny Appleseed, whose real name was John Chapman. This famous gardener didn't just plant apple trees across America. His goal was much more interesting. He planted trees not for the apples to be eaten, but to produce cider. In the early 19th century, apples were mainly used to make this alcoholic drink, and Johnny Appleseed became a hero among cider lovers. Knowing this story, each glass of apple cider will feel a bit more historical. Did you know that platypuses are venomous? This cute and mysterious animal from Australia has a real weapon hidden in its legs. Male platypuses have venomous spurs on their hind legs, which they use to inject toxins into their enemies or competitors during mating battles. While the venom is not deadly to humans, it can cause excruciating pain that lasts for months. Who would have thought that these seemingly harmless animals could be so dangerous? El Popo, Mexico's fiery mountain. Popocatépetl, known as El Popo, is one of the most active and dangerous volcanoes in the world. Located just 50 kilometers from Mexico City, it regularly spews thousands of tons of gas and ash into the air, keeping geologists and locals on their toes. Its unpredictable nature makes it a constant threat, but also serves as a reminder of nature's power and destructive force. Each eruption of El Popo is a reminder that our planet is alive and capable of awe-inspiring phenomena. Who would have thought that giraffe spots are like fingerprints? Giraffes are not only majestic creatures, but they also have a unique feature. Each giraffe's spot pattern is as individual as a human fingerprint. No two giraffes have the same spot configuration, which makes them truly one of a kind. These spots serve more than just an aesthetic function. They help regulate body temperature in the hot savanna and assist in social recognition within their groups. So next time you see a giraffe, remember that its spots are as unique as your fingerprint. The origins of the word nurse date back to ancient times. The word nurse has its roots in Latin, where it originally meant to breastfeed. Over time, this word expanded its meaning to include those who care for the sick and help them recover. Today, when we call someone a nurse, we acknowledge their vital role in providing comfort and assistance. Nurses continue to embody the spirit of care, from their ancient origins in nurturing to their modern roles in the healing process. 6 legs but no steps. The mystery of dragonflies. Dragonflies, like most insects, have 6 legs. But here's the twist: they can't walk. Doesn't that sound illogical? Instead of using their legs to get around on the ground, dragonflies use them for entirely different purposes. Their legs are perfectly adapted for grabbing prey in midair. Dragonflies use their legs like a little net to catch insects while flying. This adaptation makes them true masters of aerial hunting, able to catch prey mid-flight and then settle comfortably on a branch to enjoy their meal. For them, life is all about the thrill of the chase. Is it possible? Sea otters hold hands while sleeping. Sea otters are one of the most adorable animals in the ocean, and they have a heartwarming habit of holding hands while they sleep. This behavior isn't just cute, it serves a practical purpose, preventing them from drifting apart in ocean currents. By holding on to each other, they form small floating rafts, demonstrating their strong social bonds and clever ways to stay together in the ever-moving sea. What does a sunset on Mars look like? You'll be amazed. Imagine watching a sunset on Mars, where the sky doesn't turn red like it does on Earth, but blue. This unique phenomenon happens because of how the thin Martian atmosphere scatters sunlight. Unlike Earth's thick atmosphere that gives us those fiery reds and oranges, the Martian atmosphere bends light in a way that turns the sky into a stunning shade of blue. It's a cosmic anomaly that makes Mars feel like its own special planet. The next time you watch a sunset here on Earth, think about how it must be on Mars. You probably didn't know that the International Space Station is the most expensive object ever built. The cost of building and operating the ISS is approximately $150 billion. For comparison, that's almost 50 times the cost of the Eiffel Tower. All this money was spent to create a one-of-a-kind scientific laboratory complex orbiting the Earth. There is a white giraffe in the world, and it's not a fairy tale. In Africa, a unique white giraffe was discovered, suffering from a rare genetic condition known as leucism. Unlike albinism, leucism allows the giraffe to retain pigment in its eyes, but its skin lacks color. This rare giraffe has become a subject of intense focus, and was even equipped with a special tracker to protect it from poachers. Its snow-white color makes it vulnerable, but also a unique creature in the wild. Why was Stonehenge really built? The mystery of Stonehenge has puzzled scientists for centuries. One theory suggests it was an ancient astronomical structure used to observe celestial events. Research shows that Stonehenge was aligned with the summer and winter solstices. Another hypothesis proposes that it was a place of healing, or a ritual complex. Despite numerous theories, the true purpose of this ancient monument remains a mystery. Octopuses are the interior designers of the ocean you never knew about. Octopuses aren't just smart, they are also the artists of the underwater world. These fascinating creatures love collecting shiny shells, stones, and other treasures to decorate their underwater homes. They create underwater gardens around their dens, meticulously arranging everything. This shows not only their survival skills, but also their sense of artistry. Their homes are not just beautiful, but also designed to protect them from predators and attract the attention of other octopuses. Who would have thought that these sea creatures had such a talent for interior design? Why do chickens peck at their food? When a chicken finds food and pecks it on the ground, it's not just a random habit. This process is called beak pounding and helps chickens break down food into smaller, easier to manage pieces. A chicken's powerful beak acts like a tool to crack seeds and other tough bits of food. This behavior is common among many birds, but chickens do it with particular zeal, allowing them to get more nutrients and energy from their meals. Next time you see a chicken pecking, remember, it's using its own little kitchen tools. Did you know the Nile is the longest river in the world? The Nile River, which stretches approximately 6,650 kilometers, passes through 11 countries in northeastern Africa. These countries, Burundi, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, Egypt, Eritrea, Ethiopia, Kenya, Rwanda, South Sudan, Sudan, Tanzania, and Uganda, depend on the Nile for their economies, cultures, and ecosystems. The Nile is not only a lifeline for millions of people, but also a witness to ancient history spanning millennia. An endless chocolate bar? Illusion or reality? The illusion of an endless chocolate bar is a geometric trick that creates the impression that a bar of chocolate can regenerate itself infinitely. It's an ingenious visual illusion that tricks our minds into believing in mathematical magic. Unfortunately, this trick doesn't work with real chocolate bars, but wouldn't it be a dream come true if it did? Being born on February 29th is a 1 in 1,461 chance. People born on February 29th belong to a very rare club, as this date appears on the calendar only once every 4 years, during a leap year. The odds of being born on this day are about 1 in 1,461. That means only about 68% of the population celebrates their birthday on February 29th. They often joke that they age only once every 4 years. Some throw grand parties to mark this special day, making it an even more memorable celebration. Vending machines are more dangerous than sharks. When you go to grab a snack from a vending machine, danger probably isn't on your mind. But here's the shocker. Vending machines pose a greater threat to us than sharks. Research shows that you are more likely to be killed by a vending machine than by a shark. This startling fact reminds us that everyday objects can be surprisingly dangerous. So next time you get a snack, be careful. The real danger might just be lurking in the office or school hallway. Did you know that Alfred Hitchcock was terrified of eggs? Alfred Hitchcock, the master of suspense, terrified millions with his cinematic genius. But he had a peculiar fear himself. He was scared of eggs. Hitchcock admitted that just seeing a cracked egg filled him with dread. For a man who created films that left audiences on the edge of their seats, this phobia seems completely paradoxical. How could someone who made us fear shower curtains and shadows be afraid of something as ordinary as an egg? It's one of the more surprising secrets of the great master of horror. Can you imagine a shoe the size of a car? In 2015, an Indian shoemaking company crafted the world's largest shoe, measuring a whopping 6.4 meters in length and almost 3 meters in height. This colossal shoe is the equivalent of a US size 2090 and was made from leather, rubber, and foam. It's hard to imagine anyone wearing it, but it's certainly a record-breaking feat of craftsmanship. Hell freezes over every year. Believe it or not, there's a town in Norway called Hell, and it literally freezes over every winter. This is not a joke, it's a real place on the map. And although the town is quite small, it attracts tourists every year thanks to its unusual name. Due to Norway's cold climate, Hell is covered in ice and snow every winter, often sparking jokes. When hell freezes over is a phrase that is rather common for the residents of this town. So if you want to see hell for yourself, head to Norway in the winter and watch it freeze over. How about this? There are road maps for astronauts on the moon. During the Apollo missions, special markings were made on the moon's surface to help astronauts navigate. These markers included lines and even arrows pointing in specific directions. In an environment where horizontal landmarks are not obvious and visibility is limited, these markers were crucial. Although the moon seems empty, these hidden details help future missions avoid getting lost and allow better exploration of Earth's satellite. 857 hours of film, the longest movie in the world. The Swedish experimental film Logistics is officially the longest film in the world. Its duration is 857 hours. That's 35 days and 17 hours. The film was shot in real time and depicts the fascinating, though quite monotonous journey of a pedometer, a device for measuring distance, from a factory in China to a buyer in Sweden. If you want to watch the entire film, you'll need almost a month and a half of continuous viewing. Who would have thought that logistics could be so long? What's the longest time between the birth of twins? The longest recorded gap between the birth of twins is 87 days. This astonishing record was set when one twin was born prematurely and the other stayed in the womb for almost 3 more months. Imagine that, one twin born at the end of one year and the other in the following year. This unusual story adds a remarkable milestone to the family's life, creating a unique timeline between the births of these twins. It's hard to believe, but there's a city in Italy with no streets. Venice, Italy, is a city without traditional streets. There are only canals, and boats are the primary mode of transportation. Streets as we know them simply don't exist. Movement around the city is entirely water-based, making Venice unique among other cities in the world. Tourists travel by gondola or water taxi, enjoying the romantic atmosphere of this city on the water. Venice is one of those rare examples where the city has adapted to the constant presence of water. It's interesting that messages in bottles can travel for years across the sea. Sometimes bottles with messages thrown into the sea can float for years before reaching a shore. The longest recorded journey of such a message lasted about 133 years. During that time, the bottle traveled thousands of kilometers. These random journeys have inspired countless stories, and even in our digital age, people continue to throw bottles into the ocean, hoping to connect with future generations. Did you know there's a basketball court on top of the US Supreme Court building? Yes, you heard that right. At the very top of the US Supreme Court building, there's a basketball court known as the highest court in the land. It's a place where judges and court staff can relax and play basketball between hearings. Imagine, after making important decisions, the justices can shed their robes and shoot some hoops, trading legal arguments for basketball shots. It's a truly unique combination of law and sport. Oxford University is older than the Aztec Empire. This famous university was founded in the 12th century, long before the Aztecs began building their great empire in the 14th century. Oxford University has witnessed the rise and fall of entire civilizations and has survived through dozens of historical eras. This academic giant, with its centuries-long history, continues to be a beacon of knowledge and culture, attracting students from all over the world. Imagine, when European cities were just beginning to develop, Oxford was already a center of learning, surviving wars, changing borders, and revolutions. Did you know that Big Ben is not a clock? Actually, Big Ben is not the name of the clock or the tower, but the bell inside the clock tower. Its full name is the Great Bell of Westminster, but people simply call it Big Ben. It chimes every hour, creating a melody heard by Londoners and visitors alike. It's one of the most recognizable landmarks in the world, and now you know the real story behind the name. Did you know that some mushrooms can glow in the dark? Certain types of mushrooms have a magical ability to glow in the dark, creating a mystical forest scene. This phenomenon is called bioluminescence. When walking through the woods at night, some mushrooms emit a soft, mysterious glow, turning the forest floor into a fairy tale. This glow attracts insects, helping the mushrooms spread their spores, making them not only beautiful, but functional. Bioluminescent mushrooms are yet another example of nature's wonders. Have you ever thought about how bats are the only flying mammals? Their wings are unlike birds' wings. They are special membranes stretched between elongated fingers. This unique construction allows bats to perform complex aerial maneuvers while hunting insects. They also use echolocation to navigate in the dark, making them incredibly precise hunters. Bats play a vital role in ecosystems, eating vast numbers of insects and pollinating plants. Can you guess when the first mobile phone call was made? On April 3, 1973, the first mobile phone call in history was made. This historic moment took place in New York City when Motorola engineer Martin Cooper dialed the number of his competitor. The phone was bulky and weighed over 1 kilogram. This call marked the beginning of a new era in communications, paving the way for the sleek smartphones we carry with us today. Lakes underwater. Yes, they exist. It's hard to believe, but there are lakes under the water. They're called brine pools or underwater lakes, and they can be found on the ocean floor. How is this possible? It's all about the high salt concentration in these lakes, which makes the water inside them much denser than the surrounding seawater. These salty pools can look like real lakes, separated from the surrounding water, and sometimes unique life forms can be found in them. Adapted to these extreme conditions, this is one of the amazing phenomena of our planet, which looks like something straight out of science fiction. Is it possible in Tokyo there is an inverted tower that goes more than 60 floors underground? The Japanese are known for their engineering ingenuity, and the inverted tower project is one of the most ambitious. This tower, unlike traditional skyscrapers, goes deep underground instead of soaring into the sky. Built in the dense urban landscape, it is an innovative solution for creating new office and living spaces in a land-scarce environment. Imagine walking down the street, and below you, there's a whole underground city. Can you imagine that bananas are actually berries? Despite their shape and size, bananas are, botanically speaking, berries. It all comes down to how they develop from a flower. But here's the twist. Strawberries, which we often think of as berries, technically aren't. Although bananas look more like a fruit, their internal structure and growth process mark them as true berries. So next time you enjoy a banana, remember you're eating a bona fide berry. Being born at midnight on January 1st, a rare chance. The odds of a baby being born precisely at 12:01 a.m. on January 1st are about 1 in 26,600. That's roughly the same as the chance of being struck by lightning. Imagine how incredible it would be to ring in the new year with the birth of a new person in the very first minute of the year. This rare and surprising event becomes a special moment for the family and can even attract media attention. It's one of those unique times when life and timing align in an unforgettable way. Did you know banana plants can walk? Banana plants may seem immobile, but in reality, they can move. Of course, it's not the kind of walk we're used to, but banana plants do actually shift. Over their lifetime, they can move up to 40 centimeters, stretching their roots toward the sun. This movement is so slow that you can't see it with the naked eye. But if you could speed up time, you'd see the banana plant walking toward a sunnier spot to soak up more light. True sun lovers. The human nose, a super sensitive organ. The human nose is more than just a smell detector. It's a true sensory powerhouse. Scientists once thought that humans could only distinguish about 10,000 different smells. But recent research shows that we can actually detect up to 1 trillion distinct scents. This amazing discovery reveals just how complex and sensitive our sense of smell is. We can identify not only pleasant fragrances, but also warning smells like smoke or gas. The human nose is truly a superhero among the senses.